Today is baby's birthday. It's nighttime now. Hello, welcome to a new reading vlog. This one is going to go up on time, okay? But it is going to go up on I think I'm just going to post my vlogs on Wednesdays. Don't ask me how I came up with that magic number or what happened. It just, I think the way the scheduling fell. I know this last one didn't even come out till Thursday, so I wanted to give at least some time between the last one and this one. So now it's kind of screwed up the schedule for all of them, but it's perfectly fine. It's whatever. It's neither here nor there. This one probably, let me not say that, because last time I was like, oh, this is going to be shorter because I haven't filmed, and then that one ended up being an hour long. My last vlog was an hour long. So I don't want to jump to conclusions here and say that this is not going to be as long. I will say that I started filming super late for this one. So the last vlog ended on Thursday. I got some B-roll footage Friday and Saturday. Today's Sunday, and it's the first time that I'm sitting down. So literally only like Monday and Tuesday really left to do any type of check-ins, which is why it makes me feel like this one might inevitably be shorter, but you never know, because a girl like to talk. I like to run my damn mouth, and so that none of this should be shocking to anyone at this point. Okay, so here's a couple of things. My kid's birthday is this week. My birthday is this week. By the time that this goes up, her birthday is going to be on Friday. My birthday is on Saturday. So this week is going to be a lot. This is why I said like September is like usually a kind of dicey month for me, because there's so much going on in September, and this is one of those times where like it's a lot going on. So I just filmed my manga pickups or haul for the past couple months. I think I'm just going to title it August because it just keeps it simplistic. I'm just going to say August/September. because I highly doubt I will film another one this month. And it wasn't too bad. It was just 18 things. Most of it I had gotten on sale at some point, which is good for me, you know, budget stuff. But as far as manga is concerned, I have technically fallen behind for 60 and 30. So today is the 15th. I should be at 30 volumes as of today. I'm not behind to do 30 and 30, but I am behind to do that. The reason why I'm behind, because I'm 25 volumes, so I'm technically 5 behind. The reason why I'm behind is because I needed to start prioritizing some graphic novels that I've had checked out that I need to get read because of personal things for me, like just wanting to read them, and then also work. I gotta keep up with new releases, and I've done a horrible job of that, and so this is where we're at. So the 2 manga that I did end up reading that took me to 25 was Lullaby of the Dawn Volume 2, which I talked about Volume 1 in the last vlog. Really enjoyed Volume 2 as well. It was a heck of a read. There were some things implied for Volume 2 that really hurt my feelings. And right now I have access to Volume 3 and 4, and Volume 5 comes out soonish, I believe. So I may continue on with that series. That's Tokyopop's Love Lines BL. Kind of like a fantasy romance manga that I've really been enjoying. I gave that one 4 stars. Then I ended up picking up Delivery for You, which is another one in Tokyopop's Love. Listen, I said this in my haul video. I don't know if Hoopla worked out a deal with Tokyopop, and because they have a lot of their Love line on Hoopla. I know that they cut a deal with Kodansha, and that's why a lot of Kodansha stuff is on Hoopla. But I didn't like Tokyopop a lot, like a crap ton of Tokyopop stuff is on there. So I read Delivery for You. It was mid. I gave it 3 stars. It was cute. It focuses on this guy who loves manga, loves gaming, is like a just an overall collector, and ends up getting feelings for it's a play on Amazon. I forget what they call it in the manga. It's not Amazon, but clearly he's an Amazon delivery guy, and I feel that energy because I would not want to be hit with any copyright bullshit dealing with Amazon and Jeff Bezos. But it's a play on Amazon, and he ends up thinking that this guy is so cool and he wants to get to know him. He's getting these feelings for him, and so he orders stuff to continue their interactions. And of course they end up developing a romantic relationship. Then there was like an additional story attached to this one about 2 guys who go to university who are trying to get girlfriends and realize that they actually have feelings for themselves. That one was super undeveloped, and I didn't know if I should consider it as a part of Delivery for You. I didn't. I didn't, because it would have knocked it down even more. But yeah, I gave it 3 stars. Like, it's nothing really truly to brag about. No, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It's nothing to brag about. But I did end up catching up on some graphic novels because I needed to. So I've read 4. So you can see I've been busy reading. I just haven't been busy reading manga because I have to find a balance. I will make my 30 volumes, clearly, because I'm at 25. So if I make my 30, I'm fine. But I also have to continue to keep up with these graphic novels because we did like an overhaul, like cleaning of the house this weekend, specifically yesterday. And like I was going through it and I was like, whoa, I have so many graphic novels checked out from the library right now. And like with a good intention, because my plan is to read them all, but damn, like I gotta do better. So I don't have it downstairs, and I'm not going upstairs to go get it. I will put a picture up. I did end up reading Best Friends, Sweet Valley Twins. This is the first in the series. I do plan on catching up on the entire series because I believe the 4th and 5th one have come out this year. I will double check right now. But if you have ever read Sweet Valley Twins, the old school like Apple paperbacks. Those are now getting adapted into these middle grade graphic novels, and we're following a set of twins who are in this first volume. They are learning what it's like to be different from each other. Like, they're twins, but this is their first year of middle school, so they're in 6th grade, and they are getting adjusted to the fact like, hey, I don't like all the things that you like, you don't like all the things that I like. We don't always have to dress alike. We don't have to have the same set of friends. And it ends up being really interesting because one of the twins is, Jess, is really interested in getting initiated into this unicorn club at her middle school. Liz is kind of like, yeah, no, I'm not really interested in it. I don't, yeah, they talk about clothes and boys and stuff like that. Not my thing. I want to start a school newspaper. The initiation part of Jessica's, like, you know, getting into this unicorn club is pretty like messed up, and how it involves Elizabeth and another student is pretty jacked up. And it's so hard as an adult because it makes you low-key not like Jessica a little bit. You get very, very frustrated with Jessica as a character, and I don't think that that's the intention because she is young, she's evolving, she's growing. But man, it's written in such a way where you favor Elizabeth, like in terms of her morals and ethics. You like her more than you like Jessica, and it's super unfortunate because I don't think that's the intention, but stylistically choices were made that made that happen. The girls are dressed alike most of the time throughout the entire graphic novel, but the way to tell the difference between the two of them is Jessica always has bracelets on and Elizabeth doesn't. So that's the way that you know how to distinguish between the two of them, especially when they're dressed alike. But there's also like this ballet element where Jessica really, really likes ballet, but the teacher favors Elizabeth over Jessica for no apparent reason. Jessica's definitely more like outward, definitely more confident in her personality, which is like this one trait about her that I really enjoy is her confidence in herself, and that's something that Elizabeth is kind of working up to. But the dance teacher doesn't like her, and so there's also this element of them doing ballet together, and Elizabeth realizing how passionate Jessica is and wanting her to be successful at it. And I like that throughout this, as Jessica starts to falter, Elizabeth is like, this is not how we were raised, and you're not about to do this, and you're about to apologize. I don't care who you're friends with or what you care you look like, because if you don't, I'm gonna go tell mom, like straight up. And I was like, okay, so we have some accountability in this as well. I think that if you're going to read the series, I definitely would have volumes 2, 3, and 4 lined up because they seem to bleed into each other. Because there wasn't really any set conclusion for volume 1, and which is very intentional because I read the synopsis for volume 2 and I said, okay, well that makes sense that it's not that it doesn't have a conclusion, but it's very clear that the way that they wrote these graphic novels and adapted them, or adapted the text into graphic novel format, is that they allow the stories to bleed into each other. So volume 2 literally is not the start of a new thing. It is a continuation of the issue that we had with the ballet studio in volume 1. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I like the art. It's very much so if you have kids who like Raina Telgemeier, who like Babysitter's Club, they're gonna like Sweet Valley Twins. They're very much so, I don't want to say one and the same, but they're very good comp titles for each other. The next thing that I ended up reading was this children's graphic novel. So that one that I talked about just now was definitely a middle grade graphic novel. The children's graphic novel that I ended up reading was A Slice of Mallow, which is just, it's a cute introductory chapter book in the format of a graphic novel. And this one specifically focuses on a group of best friends, a donut, pizza, potato, and a marshmallow. And it literally is just very slice of life. Like it's very, very, very much so slice of life. There's not much substance to it. It's really short, it's sweet, it's great for those who are really enjoying their phase of getting into graphic novels. And I ended up giving it 3 stars. Then I ended up picking 2 other I would say that this one is on the cusp of the younger middle grade side. I wouldn't say this is children's. I would say this is like younger middle grade, maybe like 7 to 9. And that is Amber Brown is Not a Crayon. This is an adaptation of the very popular series Amber Brown is Not a Crayon. This one specifically follows the relationship but with Amber and her best friend. I think his name is Danny or Justin. It's Justin. I think his brother's name is Danny. The two of them are very, very close. They're in the 3rd grade. And Justin's dad got a job in Alabama. And Justin, his brother, and his mom are still living in the house because they're trying to sell the house before they move to Alabama. And so they've kind of been ignoring, both Amber and Justin have been ignoring, like, hey, Justin's gonna have to move at some point. They've been ignoring it until at one point someone comes to see the house and they like the house and they sell the house. And so now Amber is trying to reckon with the fact that Justin's going to have to move, and they are very, very close to each other. And so this is like really much so like about like best friends and that first really difficult moment that can happen between friends as like a younger kid, and that is a friend moving away. Like, how do we cope with that? How do we deal with that? And I should say before I say what I like, I've never read the actual prose Amber Brown books. I just was once again keeping up with the new graphic novels that are coming out, and this one just happened to be one, so I thought I'd put it on hold and read it. I like that this did delve into the emotional aspects that come, not just being sad, but being angry, and how it's easy to lash out and to cause rifts in friendships to make it easier to leave. I have done that as a grown person, which I'm not proud of, but it is a thing where you don't want to have to deal with leaving, and so you just tear the friendship apart so you don't have to worry about leaving. It leaves less attachments, so you can just pick up and go. And we see that with the two of them, where they fall out majorly, big time. They fall out, and it's like, you know, in part some of that was intentional so that the transition of them having to be apart would be easier. And Justin is trying to put on this brave face and bragging about moving, but really it's difficult for him too. And so Amber has to realize not only is it a change for you because you're losing your best friend, but it is also a change for Justin because he's moving to a new place where he doesn't know anybody, a new school. He has to make friends all over again, and he's doesn't have his best friend with him. So I thought this was well done. I haven't written my review yet on Goodreads, but I'm gonna give it 4 stars. And the last thing that I have is probably one of my favorite graphic novels of the year. So there are no words for this, honey. There are no words for this. Lawyer Boy. Loved this so freaking much. This is by Jess and Sin Weibo. I'm not sure how to pronounce their last name. They are twins. They're Chinese Indonesian. They were born and raised in Jakarta, and they still live there if I'm not mistaken. And they're 3rd generation. Are they third culture kids? 3rd culture kids. I was like, why am I remembering that they're 3rd culture kids? And it informs a lot of the stuff that you see in this book. So this focuses on a main character by the name of Indu, who is a moon child, and Indu's mother finds him on the moon as a baby and takes him away and is like, you don't have to be alone. I'm going to take you under my wing and raise you as my own child. And so they spend most of their time on this spaceship, and this is where Indu, because Indu is their chosen name, not their given name. Indu is trans, and this is like the section when they're on the spaceship where Indu's like, hey, I don't want you. And I appreciate them so much, like scratching out Indu's dead name. I really appreciated that, because it was tough reading that manga earlier, y'all, and seeing like someone getting dead named. I hate that, and I'm not trans, but I hate that for trans individuals. And so I was happy to see that it was actually like crossed out. And that's when he's like, you know, I'd rather go by Indu. This is like my pronouns that I want you to use. And so eventually his mom ends up getting married to her best friend's husband, who the best friend passes away, and in the process of the two of them grieving, they get really close, and then they end up getting married. So they end up going back to Earth, but it's not Earth per se, it's New Earth. So this is very much so speculative sci-fi. So for all you SFF fans, this is definitely for you. They end up going to New Earth, where they do not speak English. And so Indu is used to speaking English, but if I'm not mistaken, everyone in here is engaging in Indonesian dialogue, and it's not translated. And I know some people have issues with that because there's not translations for you to figure out what they're actually saying. But here's my thing. I love when books challenge us on a cultural level, right? Because one, Indu struggles with the fact that he can understand the language to some degree, but he can't speak it. That's kind of like with me, where like I can understand French to a certain degree, but I'm not fluent in speaking it at all. And that's because I lost practice. I lost the language completely. But there's still, like, if there's certain things that are said around me or I hear certain things, like I can understand some of it. And so we see that with him. And I think the fact that we don't understand what's being said puts us more into the shoes of Indu's experience being in a community where there is a language barrier and what that feels like. And I think that that can be an example of so many different things, especially coming from Western perspective, of how we demand for people to speak English coming into this country, and the same is not demanded of us when we go overseas, not all the time at least. And what it must be like to be in a new country and everyone is speaking a language that you don't speak, and how confusing and off-putting that can be, in the sense that you feel very, very isolated. And so Indu feels this sense of isolation that I think our creators force us to feel with him. So not only are we talking about a main character that is trans, right, which is an experience that some of us as readers can't really truly understand if we don't share that identity, but I think that language barrier is something that kind of puts everybody at an equal playing field. Like, oh, okay, this is kind of a situation, a barrier that I definitely can understand. There's a lot of queer rep in this book that I really, really enjoy. We have a side character that is pan-romantic. We have a side character that is a trans woman. We have another side character that is questioning. They're not really sure what their identity is. They're still figuring it out, which I love this conversation about, like, take time. It takes time. You may not know, and that's okay. We have another side character that is non-binary. So it's a lot of great representation in this. A lot of great conversations about grief and difficult changes happening and what it means to comfort someone during a difficult change. And sometimes being there for someone during a difficult change doesn't necessarily mean being in their face. It just means giving them space to heal, and giving them space to process what they're going through. And I absolutely loved it so much that was a piece of the conversation. I think that some people would read this and feel very confused because the fact that Indu comes from the moon is not really explained. There is no explanation of what does it mean, like he's a moon child, like what does that mean? And honestly, I think that there is some connections here to Little Prince. I've seen other reviewers mention it, and that does make sense. But someone else that has read this book, we talked about this, and it was a question of like whether this book could be representative of someone being in isolation and being in the closet as they attempt to figure out their queerness. And that it's safe. You don't have to worry about the challenges of like community challenges, not internal, but community challenges, and that people are going to question you, people are not going to accept you, people are going to hurt you. It's safer to be isolated and to be self-contained than it is to put yourself out there, because of the fear. And I feel like that moon is kind of that analogy for it. And I could be wrong, but that was just after reading that, like that definitely just felt like my perception of it, that it's not so much about the moon itself. I think the moon is representative of the isolation and the safety that some people may feel, and that there's safety and isolation that some people may feel when they stay in the closet and they don't have to deal with other people in community in terms of their identity and being different. It's safer that way, because then no one is going to challenge you, and you don't have to feel that hurt. Because a lot of what the moon was saying, which is interesting, a lot of the pieces and parts of what the moon was saying is that, like, hey, if you come back here, you don't have to deal with the pain. You don't have to deal with the issues. You don't have to deal with people not accepting you. You don't have to think about any of that. And it does feel a little bit darker in some sense, especially when Indu gets to the point where he's like, I just don't want to be here anymore. And so for me, that, like, I probably want, like, part of me was like, is that like paralleling to possible like suicidal ideation? And this is a middle grade graphic novel. I definitely would say this is like ages 10 and up. So I don't know, like, not to say that those topics are never covered in middle grade, but I don't know if that would, like, the creators, if that was their intention. But the moon to me just felt like this place that a person would want to go to when they don't want to have to deal with the possible backlash of community. And Indu coming full circle to realizing, like, yeah, you know, being out and being amongst these people on New Earth it's dark. It could come with a lot of hurt and pain and sadness, but there's also happiness and love. And so all these things can exist at the same time. And it just felt very, very hopeful, which I really, really love. Like, it does touch on the darkness, especially when it talks about the history of the queer community. And they do a lot of research about the history of the queer community, especially when it comes to Indonesian culture and the terminology that's specifically used in Indonesian culture when it comes to the queer community. So they place a lot of history into that and talking about the place of the queer community in the larger community. It was so well written. And I love the artwork, y'all. I thought the artwork was beautiful. I love Noah and I love Indu. And there's a specific line at the end where Noah was like struggling with some stuff. And Noah was like, I started liking you a lot, Indu, and I got scared you wouldn't like me back if I told you I'm not a boy. So I hid, and then I didn't answer your messages, but then I started missing you. And it cuts to the scene where the two of them are hugging. And then Indu says, I like you, Noah, every part of you, even the parts you're still figuring out. And Noah says, really? And Indu says, of course, with all my heart. Kids need stuff like this so much, y'all. Like, this is why I never understand book banning and book challenging, because it's like, in my head, I'm like, listen, if you don't want your kids reading this stuff, that's your parental right to exercise, right? But some kid out there in the world like needs this book, and I'm so happy that they have this book, and it's just so fucking well written, and it's so good. I love this. I adore this book so much. It was so great. But I lied. I already said, oh, this is gonna be a short vlog, 26 minutes for the check-in. This is why I said I'm not gonna speak. I'm not gonna speak before it's time for me to speak, because 26 minutes is wild for a check-in. But so far this week we're looking at 4 graphic novels and 2 manga. I'm going to put my haul stuff away, sit down and edit the video, and I probably will try to read a couple volumes of manga. I don't know when I'm gonna have time to catch up, but I think a couple of volumes of manga is doable, and then we'll see where we go from there. And after that, I will check in with y'all later. Um, I was going to upload this vlog tomorrow, but I have been so exhausted this week. I just have had a lot going on with work, prepping because my kid's birthday is literally in 2 days. My birthday's in 3 days, and I just don't have the energy. I really don't. Like, this week has been not like a bad week, but it's been a busy week, and it has made me tired. And I feel like my body is trying to fight the possibility of me catching a cold. And so I feel like I need to slow down. I feel like that's a problem, and I need to slow down. So I just wanted to do a quick update. Let's talk a little bit about 30 and 30. I'm not doing bad with 30 and 30. I'm at 28 volumes, and I originally was going to go for like the 60 and 30, right? But at this point, my goal is just to hit the 30, which I can, with today being the 18th, I definitely can hit that, okay? Like, I'm not concerned about that. I will hit my 30. But I'm not going to push myself to go beyond that. I think that I have read a lot this month, because keep in mind that I'm also still reading things that I need to be reading. There's other graphic novels I've been picking up. Last night I started Wires Crossed, which is a middle grade graphic novel about two friends who went to camp together. He ends up moving to her town, and they get assigned to work on it's a science fair Olympics project with two other side characters. And it's kind of like this mishmash, like, friend group, which I think is really interesting. I really do feel like there could have been like a little bit more development here in terms of our characters, and plot too, because it seems the pacing feels a little off with it. But for the most part, it's okay. I probably will talk a little bit more about that when I do a final wrap up, probably on Monday of next week, and I'll try to get this up by Tuesday of next week. See if we can get back on our regularly scheduled program. And I also have been reading Water Dragon's Bride Volume 4. So I am almost finished with that. I may, because I'm going to be in bed just laying, I may just go ahead and finish that up and then call it a night. I also picked up a little bit more of Urha, and my goal is to make it to 200 pages of Urha tonight. There has been lots of discussion about Urha, and that Moran is not he's not a likable character. I think for me, Urha is comparable to what I would consider to be a dark and taboo romance. I can kind of see it. I haven't hit any like extremely jarring aspects of it yet, but I was on a Reddit subthread earlier today, just kind of looking at like people's thoughts about Urha, and it is just the content warnings that I just saw from that Reddit thread. Like, so keep in mind, like, I was wrecked Urha because someone I know was wrecked Urha, and they read it and they were like, just try it. They told me that it was very, very dark, but didn't give me specific content warnings. So I went looking to see, like, and plus y'all have continuously told me that people, like, your mileage will vary with Urha, and that it is very, very dark. And I haven't reached that point yet, but looking at some of the content warnings associated with Urha, I definitely get it. I definitely get why your mileage may vary, and my mileage may vary. I don't know, though, until I get to that point, because I have read very, very dark stuff, and it hasn't necessarily, it's kind of one of those complex conversations about people exploring very dark, problematic things as a means of healing themselves. And I'm not going to get into that right now because I don't have the capacity nor the brain space to do it. And so I will be very transparent and honest as I go through my journey of reading Urha. But like I said, mileage is going to vary on whether people are going to like it or not like it. But I am currently like 175 pages in. I am just at the chapter where it is talking about the vulnerable one's first time seeing this kind of wedding night unveiling. So I'm in the midst of chapter 15, and it's a lot of the scenes are between Moran and Chiwaning. So we'll see where it goes. Like I said, I'm probably going to try to make it to at least page 200, or at least stop at another chapter, which is perfectly. Chapter 19 starts on page 201. So I'm going to try to continue what I've been reading up until chapter 19, and then I probably will pause there for the night. I don't know if I'm going to finish Wires Crossed tonight. That's questionable, but we'll see how I feel. But I did want to just do a quick check-in, and y'all, of course, will be knowing that you're getting this vlog a little bit later than my intentions were to get. I just can't, y'all. I can't. My birthday month is always the most chaotic because it's also my kid's birthday month, and it just, I know I say that a lot, but genuinely, like, it's a lot. And this year I have a lot of emotions surrounding our birthdays because of some things that happened earlier this year. I'm not going to delve into that. I haven't really shared a lot of that publicly. I've kind of hinted at it, but I still am not going to share it 100% publicly. So there are a lot of, there's a lot of feelings, a little bit of grieving, and some realizations that are coming with it this year. So I think that mentally, my phone cut off again. I gotta figure out this Libby situation, man, because this is like the second time this has happened to me where, like, I don't want this stuff to download to my phone, and it keeps downloading to the phone, like cutting space out of my phone. Whatever. Anyway, I'm saying all that to say, I don't know if I'm gonna finish Wires Crossed. I think that's where I was at. I don't know if I'm gonna finish Wires Crossed tonight, but I do at least know that I want to get to my section, finish my section of Urha, and finish volume 4 of The Water Dragon's Bride, and then I'm gonna get some rest, y'all. I need it. But yeah, because I was talking about, like, this weekend. That's what it was. I wasn't talking about those books. I was done. This weekend is going to be a good weekend, but I also think for me, emotionally, mentally, a little bit on the challenging side. So I think mentally that's kind of where I'm at. I'm trying to figure things out, and so I think that's why I'm also just not exhausted from the job, but just kind of getting a little anxious about things and having feelings. So, but yeah, that's about it, and I will check in with y'all later. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Alright, I'm in volume 9 of Food Wars right now, and I know I haven't done a check-in since I was upstairs, but I had to show y'all this because this is one of my favorite spreads in this entire series. I love this so much. It is like this, I don't know, darker kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, first of all, Rio has fucking brass knuckles. Soma has a whole bat. Megumi has a whole chain. Aldini, one of the Aldini brothers, I don't know, what is that, like a fucking crowbar? This is such a lit spread, okay? This is a lit spread. And it is one of my favorites in the entire series. So anyway, like, this is representative of the quarterfinals. And these are some of the characters that are in the quarterfinals of this challenge that they're currently going through. So, but I just want to show y'all this because fucking legit. Like, some of my favorite art. If I could get this blown up and bigger, this would be in my room on the wall, hands down. Hey y'all, the lighting in this is not really good. Today is baby's birthday. It's nighttime now. I didn't really record anything because I still had to work today, and she still had part of her day at school. I got off a little early. We came home. She straight crashed. We went out to dinner, and my dad is flying in from New York today, which it's like 10:15 and his flight was delayed. At first we thought I was going to cancel, and it's delayed, and so now his flight is not coming in until 11:30. And your girl is tired. Tomorrow's my birthday, and I'm doing this huge joint celebration for me and my kid tomorrow. So I thought I would do a check-in because, one, I don't know when I'm going to be able to like actually sit down in front of a camera and vlog. Maybe on my phone if I get some like alone time, but the likelihood of that at this point is kind of slim to none. But I have been reading Food Wars, and I don't even have all of the volumes. Yes, I do. Okay, so I did read The Water Dragon's Bride Volume 4, which put me at 29 volumes, and I've been reading that. I read Volume 3 and 4, and Ray Toma is just, I love her so much. It got like off to a rocky start. It wasn't as great for me as Dawn of the Arcana has been, but now I'm falling in love with it, and so I think I just needed to get over that hump. But I ended up reading Food Wars Volume 7, which put me at 30. So my goal was to read my 30 volumes. I think I talked about it earlier this week where like I kind of fell behind a little bit because life has been lifing, and I've been tired, and I've been also needing to read other graphic novels. I've been reading my Danmei and stuff like that. So, but I did get through Volume 7, which put me at, like I said, my 30 volumes. This is where we're stepping into the fall classic, which is not necessarily like my favorite story arc, but it's also like not the worst story arc. But it feels so long. I'll tell you in a second where I'm at. I also read Volume 8 and I read Volume 9, which I left upstairs, and I'm not going to go get it. I am currently reading Volume 10, which is where we are getting to the we're getting close to the semifinals of the fall classic. Right now we had a matchup between Aaron and Akari's aide, and then also Hayama. The two of them just competed, and their challenge was burgers. So I believe in Volume 9 we saw, who did we saw? Rio and Megumi faced off, and their food was ramen. And then we saw Alice Nakari and Soma compete in Volume 8-ish, and their theme was bento boxes, which is really interesting. Now we're about to see Takumi Aldini faced off against Mimasaka, who's a complete ass. Mimasaka is not technically a chef. He is a copycat. He's a stalker. He's strange. It's just really, really weird. So this is kind of interesting because they're in the fall classic, but Mimasaki changes his competition, his quarterfinal competition with, are we in the semifinals? No, this is the last quarterfinal. So he changes his last, he changes the last quarter, I'm trying to figure out how this happened. He changes the last quarterfinal into a shokugeki. And things go left from there. Because everybody's pretty much like, wait, this is the quarterfinal of the fall classic. Why are you challenging him to a shokugeki? And there's a lot of reasons behind that. And it's pretty sick and twisted, and I feel like there's a member of the council who's a part of the foolery, so we'll see what happens. I mean, I've already read this like 3 times, I think this is like my 4th time reading this volume, and so I kind of know how this is going to play out between Aldini and Mimasaka. I've been calling him Mimasaki. It's Mimasaka. I kind of know how this all plays out. So it is 10:20. So I'm gonna keep reading this, and hopefully this will keep me up for the next 40 minutes. We'll see if I finish it in the next 40 minutes, and then I have to get my kid up to drive to the airport at like after 11 o'clock at night. This is just not how I wanted my birthday weekend to be. It's fine. It's all fine. All of it is fine. Okay. So I am past my 30 volumes. Volume 7 put me at 30. So 8, 9 put me at 32. This is volume 33. I'm not saying that I'm still going to make 60 and 30, but I think now maybe 40, 50 volumes might be possible. We'll see what happens. Alright, y'all. Check it later. Hello. I'm trying to do this final clip really quickly because I have book club in 9 minutes. 9 freaking minutes. Which I did finish the book club book, which is Banned Book Club, which was not, I think, what I was anticipating it to be, which is interesting. So this vlog turned into a 2-week vlog. I know I didn't want to do that. I was so against doing another 2-week vlog, but it turned into a 2-week vlog because at the end of the day, life got busy. It was me and baby's birthday this past week, which I'm sure you have seen footage of it. And I'm trying to find my page in this book because it's going to kill me. Okay, there we go. So I know you have some footage that you've probably seen. I talk a little bit about like my dad flying in from New York, and it was like a really fun-filled weekend. It was a lot. I really have not had the opportunity to do much reading because it's just been so chaotic and busy around these parts. I am going to have quite a few things that are going to kind of bleed over into October, which is cool because there is another readathon happening that is horror based, which I'm excited about. But I did end up reading my 30 volumes. I'm about to do a count really quickly. 34. Okay, so I'm at around 34 volumes and there's still 5 days left. So I may, try to finish a couple more, but I'm glad that I hit my 30, okay? Because you have to remember, in April, I completely just bombed and it just didn't happen. I would have loved to go through 60, but I kind of knew, like, in the back of my head that with my birthday coming and like all of the preparations and stuff like that and getting kind of ready for family and friends, my reading was going to be thrown off regardless. So I did talk about the fact that I did catch up on reading Food Wars. So Food Wars ended up being my series that I read 10 volumes for. I am currently in the midst of reading volume 11. I do anticipate finishing this before we get to the end of 30 and 30. I don't know if I'll be able to pick up, do I have volume 12 over there? Yeah. I don't know if I will get to volume 12, but at least I did get through 11 volumes of this, and I will continue to slowly make my way through this series as we go through the rest of the year. Part of my challenge as well, or what I was doing, was reading a little bit of my Danmei as I went, you know, as I got time to read my Danmei, and I ended up getting about 200 pages into Urha. Still, it's, from what I have seen, and I know like a couple of you have commented and we've kind of engaged in some dialogue about it. Urha kind of reminds me of like some elements that you would typically see like in a darker romance. And I can definitely see why Urha would not be, it would not be everyone's cup of tea. I definitely can understand why. But I still, I'm not even technically 50% of the way through. So I probably will carry this into October as well. I did get some book mail. So because I started reading Water Dragon's Bride, because y'all know how I feel about Raytoma. Love her. Love her. Y'all know last year I ended up reading this series, right? And I loved it. And it is so, there's 2 volumes that are like impossible to find. It's volume 10 and volume 7, but I was able to find volume 7, but I can't find volume 10 anywhere for a cheap price. But there was a library that was auctioning these off for $5 a piece. And I had to get it because, first of all, it benefited the library, and I'm all about money going back into the library. But I was like, $5 a piece, that means like I got, well no, it was less than $5 a piece, y'all, because I got all of these for $16. It's wild. Because that's right, because they were doing 5 for 10, and then I had to bid and then pay for shipping, and then I paid $16 for the first 5 volumes of Dawn of the Arcana. I am happy, if I do say so myself, like, y'all, I love this series. This was a 4 and 5 star series all the way through for me. So I did get those. And then these are kind of like my birthday presents to myself. Then I finally got this webtoon series that I've been dying to get, and y'all know how I feel. It's The Cursed Princess Club. I've already read the first volume. I ranted and raved about this book so much. This is the second one, which is the one that I'm currently reading. I returned the copy that I had back to the library because it was overdue horribly. So I returned it, got my own copy, and I have copy 3, and volume 4 comes out next year, and I'm so excited that I finally have the series, and it's going to be on my shelf. So, some things that I picked up, of course, I'll be doing my book haul for September and October. Last thing that I want to say before I sign off here, I did start reading One Piece over again, but I am going to be doing a separate vlog for this, so I'm not going to talk about this here. I am not even past volume 1 now. I've already read volume 1 before, but I wanted to start over and vlog my experience reading this stuff and do a little something differently with it. I ended up buying all the volumes for East Blue Saga. 2 of the volumes I picked up as a birthday present to myself. So with that being said, that is it, my friends. Let me know how you've been doing with 30 and 30, and I will be starting the new vlog for next week tonight, and it'll start with book club. So I'll talk about the book club book that I ended up reading. I'll go into more detail about that in next week's vlog. Just in case anybody was wondering, well, you didn't talk about the club book. I'll talk about it next week's vlog. All right, y'all. Have a great week, rest of your week, day, whatever it is. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, and I will be back with another video soon. Bye.